In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different than I usually do. I honestly wasn't even going to produce a video this week, but I decided that, the channel's been making such big, leaps and bounds recently that I thought it would be good to do a bit of a State of the Union, end of year wrap up kind of video. 2021. It's been a confusing year. So, just everyone's been experiencing this in their own ways. And I know people watch my videos in different corners of the world. And I know that your experiences can be profoundly different than mine. But in Los Angeles, anyway, the vaccine has made it possible for people to, quote unquote, go back to normal. I got my vaccine at the end of the first quarter of the year. I've spent much of the year playing live gigs in person and meeting with clients and doing all kinds of things that I wasn't able to do in 2020. And that has affected a bit my productivity online. Let's reflect on the Pandemonium Big Band channel overall, and you can get an idea of where I'm coming from and where I think I might go in the future and that kind of stuff. So if you're a really diehard fan of the channel, you might have noticed that I didn't start posting educational type, this is how to write for big band videos until earlier this year. The focus of this channel, I signed up on YouTube more than 10 years ago. I guess it was about 10 years ago. 2011 was my first YouTube video. And that was a performance that my big band, the Elliot Deutsch Big Band, had done on PBS, which is, United States Public Broadcasting channel. We participated in an annual concert that they do in Los Angeles called the Los Angeles Holiday Celebration. And we played an arrangement that I had just written of the Christmas song. I actually wrote that arrangement to perform at that concert. So I wrote it, we got selected, we did the performance, it was really exciting, and then they sent me a DVD of the entire broadcast. And the first thing I did was rip my own performance. It was two different songs, the Christmas song and I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. And I uploaded them to YouTube, not to get views or anything like that. That wasn't really part of the equation in 2011. What I wanted to do was put it online so that my friends and family that may have missed the concert can watch my part of it. And I'm very proud of those videos. I think it was an excellent production. I had an excellent band that evening, and I'm still proud of our performances. Though somewhat imperfect, they feel really, really good, and I stand by them until now, which is one of the reasons why I haven't taken them off my channel, even when I got more serious about the YouTube thing. My next big push into the YouTube sphere was in 2016. I found myself watching a lot of jazz performances on YouTube as sort of an evening ritual I did with my girlfriend, who's now my wife. We are both huge jazz fans. I'm obviously a jazz musician professionally. She is a humongous jazz fan, and one of the things we liked to do at home was watch concert videos on YouTube. There's tons of that stuff. And at one point she asked why I don't have more videos of my band on YouTube. And the reason was I hadn't produced them. So I did a series of these sort of crammed into this little studio videos, Yaniv Studio in the Valley. It's an excellent, excellent studio. Not really enough square footage to do a big band. He was getting his studio started at the time, and the price was right, and my engineer, Jason Lee, had a good working relationship over there, and it was the right time and the right place. And we produced 5 videos over the course of a few months, and I was really proud of the way they came out. Again, imperfect. Like, these weren't studio quality, not because the studio wasn't capable of that. It was. Just because we had so many more people crammed into it than you would want to have crammed into a room that size. There was, no isolation. There weren't enough headphone channels to really record to a click or any of that kind of stuff. And so there was this rawness to those recordings that I think makes them still very watchable. In fact, check out Stormy Weather if you haven't checked out my recording of Stormy Weather. Man, Mike Rocha played the solo. It's unbelievable. And anyway, those never really gained a lot of traction. I mean, at least initially. And I got discouraged. And it wasn't very expensive to record there, but I also wasn't earning a lot of money. So getting that stuff together was a significant hurdle for me. And since I wasn't getting the traction at that point, I stopped doing it. Now, we're going to leapfrog ahead to 2020, where everything shuts down and we're at home all the time. And I had a little bit of fortune going into that. I work with excellent artist and producer Adam Smith, who I've mentioned in a couple of other videos, who produces electro swing. In fact, we used to play together in a group called The Mutator. He was one of two music producers in that group that really wrote most of the music that the band performed, and I played in the horn section on trumpet. So we had a long working relationship from Mutator, and then I had begun working with him on his own solo project. And the very first session that we did, I had written horn parts for two of his songs, and we went over to his home studio. We began recording one of those two tracks, and there was a power outage. I mean, you can't write this stuff. There was a power outage, and we sat there. It was me, the saxophonist Will Vargas, who had shown up with 4 instruments to record and hadn't got to record anything yet, and Adam and myself sort of sitting in his living room, munching on snacks, waiting for the power to turn back on. And after about a half hour, I suggested, why don't we go over to my house? It's about a 20-minute drive from his house. I have my office set up, which you can see right here. It's not a treated studio, but maybe we can do it well enough that we can get this done for today. And if we need to redo anything, then we'll get back to it. But it's better than sitting around. And so Adam grabbed his Macintosh tower and his microphone that he wanted to record us with and drove over here. And we recorded those 2 songs, and they came out excellent. I don't think it would have sounded any better if we were at his studio than recording it here. And I know that I'm being a little bit reductive. People that set up high-end recording studios spend a lot of time thinking about acoustics and all that other kind of stuff. But remember, we're recording trumpet and saxophone, and those instruments create a lot of sound. And so putting the microphone up close and having a little sound barrier behind the back, in this case in the form of one of those semicircular vocal booth things, which Adam had and now I have one, really does enough for that. So if I was going to record, vocal tracks in here, I probably would have to treat the room. But I'm not going to, so I won't. I don't know how else to put that. But for the kind of electronic music we were doing, the quality was just fine. And we recorded the next batch of Adam tracks. Will Vargas came over to my house, and we recorded here without Adam around. I made a point, I got together with Jason Lee, who I'd mentioned before was an engineer that I've had a long relationship with. And he sat down and helped me figure out how to use Logic and really how to get the most out of my audio interface, which is an Apogee Duet. I don't have a lot of experience recording, or at least at that point I didn't. And this is what you need in order to record yourself cleanly without peaking. And this is, what you should look for and what you should listen for once you've recorded these stems. And this is the quality that you should send to somebody else if they're going to mix it. So here's the way you need to export it. Really, really basic stuff, but really important, and ended up being so important because in March of 2020, everything shut down and I had to stay at home. But fortunately, I had already set up all of my recording stuff so that I could record for Adam, or the Adam Smith project. And so making the transition to home recording was something that was already in the works for me. So it wasn't a huge deal. Late March, I think, or maybe early April, several of the guys in my band sent me YouTube links to this Chad Lefkowitz Brown virtual big band video. It was their very first virtual big band video. And they said, we need to do something like this. And at that time, I didn't know how long we were going to be at home and how involved this project would be. So I spent a lot of time thinking about exactly the best way to do this. I thought, if I'm going to do it, the quality has to be excellent. That's kind of... If you're going to record music, it's got to be good, because for better or for worse, every piece of music that I put out, someone is going to be comparing it to Gordon Goodwin or Tom Kubis or, anything. And so it has to be on that level of good, even if I can't afford to record at the best studios or have the most experienced studio musicians. We have to put out the best product that we're capable of doing every single time. just we have to. So this was an experiment, and we got through recording the cassowary, and I could not believe how good this thing sounded, especially after Jason got his hands on it and mixed it. It went from, wow, this might work, to, oh my God, sounds like a studio recording. It became a monthly project for us. Immediately when one was finished, I'd get to work on the next one, and we cranked out. We just released our 13th. We released 12 of them in rapid succession. So we spent all of 2020 releasing these virtual big band recordings. And I'm still so proud of every single one of them. I can't believe the quality that we were able to achieve, and how, when I look back and watch them, I can't believe how much time I put into these. I can see the time ticking by. And I know this isn't important and I shouldn't dwell on it, but it was disheartening to me how few people were actually watching and listening to them. So I decided that, and this might be somewhat delusional, but I thought, look, I know that the music is really good and the performances are really good. It's a matter of people not knowing who I am. I started throwing ideas at the wall to come up with, how can I get people to see and listen to the music that I'm producing. One of my ideas was to do popular covers. So I did Time Check, and that worked really well, although the people that watched Time Check didn't necessarily come back and watch 2 for 1 or whatever the next original one I did after that. I made a point of every once in a while releasing a how-to video. I did a couple of videos that over time have gained traction on how to record a big band remotely. If you haven't watched that, watch it. The information is really good, although, the footage doesn't look as good. I've gotten a lot better at making these videos. The technical part of making a video I've learned a lot about, and I'll get to that in a minute. As 2020 was ending and 2021 was beginning, first I ended up upgrading just about all of my gear. So making those virtual big band videos is incredibly computer hungry, much more than actually writing or recording music. And much more than editing a 4K talking head video like this. The 1080p video with 17 or 18 camera angles all running at once is an insane power hog. So I actually upgraded to the computer that you see back here in the latter part of 2020, because I just was banging my head against the wall trying to make all these things work with my 2014 MacBook Pro that I had before, which was a good computer. Ran Sibelius and Logic flawlessly, but Final Cut Pro was too intensive for that. So I upgraded the computer. Then getting into 2021, I finally bought my first big boy camera. In fact, you can see the leap in quality happen. The very first video that I did with this camera, I was using the lens that it came with, and that was Closed Voicing Part 1. The very first Big Band Secrets Revealed video, which is closing in on my most popular video ever, which is insane. That was using the kit lens. I didn't really know what I was doing with lighting. I still don't really know what I'm doing with lighting, but I'm learning. But, the information was really good. This was, getting into that video, I made like a how to prepare lead sheets video and how to, record yourself for a virtual performance and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, look, what I do, what I'm an expert at in Los Angeles, which is a big city. I personally am in a handful of people that are really an expert at writing for big band. I really understand it, and I have a lot of experience doing it. And I thought, I'll just break it down to basics and show a technique and kind of see whether, whether it works. And fortunately, I guess I did it the right way. I made it a lot more concise than this video. Anyway, that video it really hit for my channel in a way that I hadn't seen before. And much more importantly, I guess, was I really started to get subscribers. And that's really, really important on YouTube. As you know, chances are if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you are already a subscriber. And if you're subscribing, you're going to see when I put new videos out. And that kind of drives itself. So at the beginning of 2021, I had less than 300 subscribers to the channel, I think. I was trying to look it up and I couldn't figure it out, but I believe it was less than 300, if not in the neighborhood of 300. And today, on December 30th, we're closing in on 3,900. So we have 13 times the subscribers now than we did then, which is incredible to me, completely incredible. And it continues to grow. And I'm very humbled. I put out a video when we crossed 1,000 saying how humbled I was. And, I'm 4 times as humbled now. The idea that I can talk into a camera and give my thoughts about music, and then a week later, 1,000 people will have watched that video, and there'll be, 50 comments of people adding to the conversation in really meaningful ways, touches me a great deal. The other amazing thing that happened was I started making connections. A lot of new opportunities opened up based on the popularity of the Pandemonium Big Band YouTube channel. So the first level was I was able to start a Patreon and actually start generating a little bit of income based on that. And a really big part of that is I've gotten several once-a-month students who are all incredible people that I've gotten to know through this year. And a lot of them are just getting started with big band arranging. And it's been an incredible experience seeing their ideas and kind of helping guide them a direction that seems like it would be productive to me. The other, one of my bigger accomplishments this year was I was able to work on a documentary. I haven't done a lot of music to film, and a film composer reached out to me and asked if I would help them write, orchestrate, I guess, some cues for this documentary. It was called The King of Cool, and it's on Turner Classic Movies, and I got to work on all of the big band style cues, which was quite a few of them. It's a movie about Dean Martin, and there's a lot of music in the movie that is in the big band style, and that's a specialty in the composing world that fortunately I was able to offer to the composer of this film, Lee Roberts, only because he found me on YouTube. I don't know how many more opportunities like that will come around. Hopefully a lot more, because I loved doing it. A few months ago, I did a collaboration with Lorenzo Ferrero. He had reached out to me after watching one of my videos. I can't remember which one, but we had lunch and he showed me a bunch of the stuff that he was working on, and I surprised him by taking one of his solo etudes and harmonizing it for 5 saxophones. A few weeks later, he sent me back a recording that he had done of that arrangement, and then we released it on my YouTube channel. Watch it! There, I think the card goes up on that side. More recently, I've started a collaboration based on that collaboration with Sharp 11 Music, which they're up in Europe, around the world from me. Said, I saw your collaboration with Lorenzo and I want to do that. And so we're working on something very similar, but even crazier. So keep your eye out on both my channel and Sharp 11 Music's channel. It'll probably go on their channel for subscriber reasons. They are much more popular than I am. But we'll get there. Again, I can't thank you enough for sticking with me through 2021. 2022 is going to be great. I've got some exciting things happening. First of all, you might have noticed that the last couple videos I've been doing from this angle as opposed to straight in to the desk, which I did most of the year. And the reason for this is I'm about to change my furniture setup in my office. Well, first of all, that wall didn't exist until about a month ago. But it's here now. My garage door is behind it. Maybe I can do another video showing my whole office. But I've finally ordered a proper studio desk. So hopefully I'll be getting that soon, and it'll get set up more or less where this red desk is right now. And it'll house the keyboard, and I'm really excited to upgrade my workspace that way. And to add to that, I'm working on figuring out lighting and cameras and lenses and all that kind of nonsense. I need to figure out a way to get the back lit a little bit better. Like this, it doesn't have quite the depth, the visual depth that it did when I was going straight on. And I think that I can achieve that a little bit by putting some things on the wall. I've got some artwork that I just ordered for that wall. But in addition to that, I should figure out a way to do 3-point lighting instead of 2-point lighting. Gosh, what else? I really don't want to put a bunch of LEDs all over the place. Man, I watch a lot of other people's channels on YouTube, and a lot of people have LEDs all over the place, and it looks like their office is a spaceship. And this is where I actually work, and I write charts for clients, and I write charts for myself, and people come over and we work in here, and I just don't want it to look like a spaceship. That's not my personal vibe, so that's not going to happen. Have a wonderful New Year's Eve if you're able to go out, or stay at home and have a nice, safe New Year's Eve with the people that are close to you. And until next time, goodbye.